So, hi everyone. Everything is fine? Do you hold on? It's almost done, huh? So, I'm Pascal. I'm the CTO of Moonify, which is a French startup, as you can hear, or perhaps don't. I don't know. So, as you can hear, I'm a CTO of the French startup, and we help companies to go to the blockchain and monetize their content thanks to the blockchain. And as a reference, we are behind the smart contract of Robot Cash. So the meaning of the talk here is to explain what would come next thanks to the blockchain regarding monetizing your game. So, and when I mean monetizing, I'm talking about earning money, but also reducing your costs. I don't know you, but when I want to see ahead, I like to know from where I'm coming. So I will do a very quick overview of all the model we have right now as a standard in a classic way. But just before that, I want to know my audience. So some of you are game developers or representing game studios. Can you raise your hand? Okay. Very few. Some of you are thinking about creating a blockchain game? Very few. And some of you already started or finished it or released it? Okay, even less. Okay, so who are you? Okay, so just to understand what are the classic way of monetizing stuff. So I will start with the very basic one, premium. It started very back in the days, and I won't talk about the old home console, but I just did. In fact, it was the very beginning of selling the game and having a game on your own. And the internet came and changed a lot of stuff. It raised the standards because gamers' expectations evolved. Multiplayer experience, they want a multiplayer experience, so that means you have to think about scalability. They want leaderboards and achievements, and they want more interaction and more social. So that means the very basic puzzle game you will have to make, if you want it to live a little bit, at least should have a leaderboard and achievement. So it has an impact on your costs. So yeah, so this is one of the first impact. And then this guy did this. And it's not necessarily because everyone now has a console in the pocket, but I think one of the most interesting things was in 2009 when Apple decided to open the in-app purchase to every app, including the free ones. And 2 years after, the free-to-play revenues overtakes the premium one, so which is very outstanding. And in 2012, Peter Moore from Electronic Arts said all games will have a transition to the free-to-play in 5 to 10 years, the right quote. And of course, because it was announced as the Grail, most of the studio went to there, and there was a kind of abuses. So, for example, the Belgium Gaming Commission in 2 years ago found that loot crates was a kind of gambling stuff. So you have some bad experience with the in-app purchase. For example, the Battlefront 2, they had to roll back because the community was absolutely not happy with the business model. But if you look like Fortnite, it was talking about before, yeah, when it is done well, you have a pretty good result. So 68% of people, I was amazed. So I can understand, but yeah, microtransactions have flaws. You need a high number of DAU to be profitable. Less than 3% of users will pay, not for Fortnite, obviously. Huge budget required for massive acquisition. And be cautious because users have quite of defiance on the model, so you have to be sure that you are not choosing the pay-to-win stuff unless you are obliged to do it. So then, advertisements. This is another way to earn money on your video game. Is it a good one? In fact, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but this is one of the first internet banner appearing. Not the first one, but one of the first. And at that time, in 1994, on the internet, you had 44% click rates, which is outstanding. If you compare with last year, yeah, not the same. And in fact, advertisements annoy people, and they may try to protect from themselves. Protect them from the ad. And you see the rate of ad blockers installation should ring a bell. But it's not, obviously, because one of the investment budgets, we can see that, in fact, it goes up and up and up, like they want to be at least seen somewhere. But so they continue to spend even more on the advertisement. And when you listen to Mark Pritchard from Procter & Gamble, which is a very huge advertiser, he said a huge part of digital ads investments that are done today are totally wasted. So, is it still the way to go? I don't know. And I will finish very quickly with the subscription model. Is it the way to go today? For now, no. 5% of games in the world are using subscription model. Your gameplay should be aligned with this kind of subscription model. But 82% of the game in the world are using free-to-play. Perhaps it's a good thing. And Peter Moore was perhaps right about the thing that games would go would transition to free-to-play between the 5 and 10 years since 2009. So, what blockchain can bring on the base of this model, or this classical model, and perhaps the blockchain can improve this or not, we will see. So when we think about blockchain, of course, you think about tokenization. We can bring, for example, the new economy models. We can think about cryptocurrency and mining. We can bring new stream revenue or decentralization that could reduce your cost of hosting your game on the blockchain. But before answering the how question, we must answer the when question. That means, at what step should you start thinking about using blockchain to monetize your stuff? The answer is very easy. It's now. Now, in fact. What do I mean by that? What can blockchain bring you to add revenues or monetizing or reduce costs or acquire new users? I will start with the controversial one, crypto mining. In fact, the idea would be to install a cryptocurrency mining solution on your website. Ooh. In exchange, you offer your visitors the equivalent amount of the in-game currency. So, in fact, your visitors are mining cryptocurrency behind. Of course, they know it, and you display them the fact that they own credits, they earn credits. You can do that on your website, on your landing page, even before the game was created, just to incentivize users that they are right now earning some coins, some credits that they will be able to spend later when the game will be ready. It looks something like this. You know, as an anonymous user, if you give your consent, you click on a play button, you see the credits you own. And of course, because they own something as an anonymous user, you incentivize them to create at least an account. And then it becomes a lead and a prospect. So, but they own something. And then, because they secure their earnings with their accounts, you are able to give them some feedbacks about the game evolving, etc., etc. So this is something you could start even right now, having the right storytelling, explaining what the game would be, and give them an incentive to keep their tokens. So this is a kind of crowdfunding approach, in fact. Look how much people are willing to pay if the storytelling is good. Of course, this game is one of the kind. More than $80 million, of course. Not all the game will achieve that. But yeah, storytelling is very important. And you can help explain your people that they can help you fund the game even before you started developing it. But let's see some figures. This is the total amount of pledge per year on Kickstarter for the video game part, and you can see that it's dropping. Okay, very strange. But if you see the tabletop game, it goes very high. So perhaps people need to own something tangible in this 3.0 area, and you never own something. So perhaps they need to touch something. The tabletop one, that would explain why the tabletop one continues to be crowdfunded. They need also an exit if they change their mind or if you didn't respect your promises. I think what was the biggest problem of video game crowdfunding is that most of the game were never released. So you put your money and bye-bye. So perhaps changing this way and having contract and explain to the users that they have an exit if you don't keep your promises. And instead of promises, you could give them a piece of your future game using NFTs. Everyone is aware of NFTs? Yeah? No? Yeah, it seems yeah. So you have this kind of project, for example, crowdx.io. It's in development, in fact. So it's a platform that presents themselves like a Patreon and a mix with Kickstarter, based on the blockchain, using smart contracts to trigger the fact that the money will go to the account of the guy, etc., etc. So I don't know what it will be done, but like I said, it's a future. We don't know. And of course, blockchain is, well, the basic stuff is tokenizing stuff. So I will show you some of the games perhaps you already know, or some of the games that are released or being in development. And we will see if they are using the blockchain in a good way and in a future way. So for example here, Ethereum, do you heard about that? So it's obviously inspired by Pokemon, so you are training monsters, and each time they win a battle, they get more value, and you can then sell them for profit. So yeah, it's very basic, Pokemon basic or Tamagotchi system. But yeah, what is interesting there is that you give value of the thing that the gamer is owning, and there is a gameplay, and when he's fed up, or even he can do this only for speculation, do whatever, but when he's fed up, he can sell the NFT and perhaps making some profits. Lord Mancer, did you heard about this? Lord Mancer, so it's a mobile synchronous PvP. Cryptocurrency is the Lord coin and can be mined while playing the game. So it's this, even worse than the thing I explained to you on the website. You are mining cryptocurrency directly inside the game. So another way to monetize the stuff. So what is it about? In fact, it's what we call fragmentation. We encourage you, this is a personal thought, but we encourage you to think about fragmenting your game. So whatever your game you have, perhaps you can imagine that the character could be tokens, the sword, the weapons, whatever. So find a way to split your game, and this is what we call the item-centered model. Instead of selling your game, you sell the assets of your game. So imagine that in a normal model, you would have to convince people to come inside your game and discover what you have inside it. So the idea would be, find a way to display everything you have inside the game, everything, not spoiling the story, but most of the things, and for them to be bought directly outside the game. And perhaps they will go to the game later, and you can even do this before the game is released also. So once tokenized, your asset can be sold on the blockchain marketplace, basic stuff. And what thing that could be cool also is that you authorize users, for example, they play your game and they earn a sword, and you give them the ability to sell this sword. They didn't buy it, excuse me, but you give them the ability to sell it outside the game. To what? In fact, to do user acquisition. They will talk about your game and they will try to sell this asset to everyone outside. So perhaps if in front of this guy you have a lazy guy that doesn't want to earn the sword by playing too much, he will pay and then have this sword directly from the users, and then you pay these users in-game currency and he will be able to spend it again inside the game. So in fact, you are rewarding your users for their engagement. And if you tell me, no, my game is not tokenizable, I can't split my game in pieces because the gameplay doesn't allow it or whatever, I will say, no, don't tell me that. Think harder, because I give you this example. This is a puzzle game, a very basic one. You have to finish some maze. But in fact, there is an editor inside this game, and everyone can create new levels. Every level can be tokenized, and everyone created the level owns it. That means there is a smart contract on the token, and each time the level is played by someone, the owner of the level is getting paid a portion of the money that the studio gave. So in fact, this is a way to pay or reward, I mean at least, guys who create content for your game. So mass adoption, this is the same thing all the time. When I think mass adoption, I always ask myself, can my mom use it? No, guys, I gave up. My mom can't play blockchain games. You need to ask your users to own a wallet, buy some Bitcoin or Ethereum first. I know for the wallet part that you can create the wallet for him, etc., but you endorse the responsibility of any security issue. Then the guy can buy your in-game currency, and then they can start playing. No, you want the guy play and start playing right away. So I am a defender of the hybrid approach. I don't know if you heard about this hybrid approach. The hybrid approach is, okay, blockchain is cool. Blockchain will be great later, but right now it's young and you have a lot of flaws. So why don't we think about games that are using blockchain but not everywhere? I mean, I know I am a tech guy, I have a new toy, I dream about the game that will be hosted fully decentralized and all the tokens will be exchanged and no single point of failure, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, but in the meantime, look, Gods Unchained, for example. All the assets, the tradable assets, are on the blockchain, but the game itself are on very classic game servers, and the game is made with Unity in a very classic way. So only the assets are on the blockchain. And by the way, I heard in the previous panel, one of the guys would not invest before the game. At least there are people outside that can do it. For example, with this card. This card was sold around 60K when it was not the crypto winter. It was 60K at the moment it was sold. So the game is not released yet. So the hybrid approach, another example of hybrid approach is Azaris. I don't know if you heard about it. It's not a video game, really a video game. It's in fact a quiz for Twitch streamers. Users can give their answer when logged in on Twitch. So they don't need any wallet, they don't need anything, but they can earn AZA coins. And AZA coins are hosted on the EOS blockchain, in fact. So the only thing you need is to have a Twitch ID to be able to log in and to get access to your coin. Okay, so you don't really need, you don't force your users to have a wallet to access to the thing. And another hybrid approach is loot.game, which is a marketplace on which you can deposit your assets. So the idea is, like I said before, all the assets you have in your game, you can sell them like off-app purchase. So it's like in-app but outside. So off-app purchase, and then you give the ability to the users to sell the asset they have in the secondary market. But at this moment, there is no blockchain involved. Loot.game is a third-party one. Okay, but why I'm talking about this in a blockchain conference? Because in fact, from at the moment the asset is on the loot.game side, the users can tokenize it on demand. So in fact, the tokenizing part is pushed to the users if he's blockchain aware. So that means from this part, he can send this token to the blockchain and then do peer-to-peer selling or sell it to the OpenSea marketplace. And then, of course, you've got the smart contract going back. You detokenize the item, and the user can claim it inside the game. So another way of thinking about hybrid approach. And to finish, there is also the full approach. The full approach we are all dreaming about. There is this project, Ibacus, that is, I think, very interesting because they claim that you could make a game, they are in development right now, 100% blockchain. So they offer micro-mining solutions. So that means, in fact, all the transactions will be validated by all the gamers. 100% backward compatible with Ethereum. They talk about 20,000 transactions per second. And also, which is interesting, is that the system includes a DB instance for each of the smart contracts you are creating. And I mean, not a DB instance like on Ethereum. It's a very near relational database. So very interesting that you can make very fast queries. So you could imagine not real-time game, but not so far. Okay, we are still dreaming, but yeah, I think the future is if you are thinking about creating a game involving trading stuff, tokenizing stuff, and also augmented reality, yeah, it could be a hit this year because everyone is talking about augmented reality this year. So what I mean by that is perhaps thinking of giving back to the user tangible stuff. So thinking about digitalizing. The Hasbro invented this term in the way that you can have a real object in the real world and you could tokenize it on the blockchain and see using your phone or augmented reality glasses what the object is looking about. So to conclude, I think free-to-play is the way to go. It's still the way, perhaps. If they pay, gamers want to own something tangible. And gamers want to be rewarded for their engagement. Asset-centered model is the way. Start to cut your game in tradable pieces, what we call the fragmentation. You can do it right now. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, do you have any questions for Pascal about his approach? No.
What do you think about the hybrid approach? Are you agree with me? The fact that the blockchain is not necessarily to be used 100%.
Okay, hands up if you agree with the hybrid model, not together on the chain. I think we have broad agreement there.
80%.
Yeah. Just one thing to check. So you said at the start your smart contract was used for RoboCash. Is that right?
Yeah, we developed the smart contract for RoboCash, cool. Which will be a pretty good platform.
Yeah.
I have a bias to do that, but to say that. But yeah.
Cool. Lovely. Good stuff. Thank you very much, Pascal.
Thank you.